Good morning. You are listening to UpReach, a morning devotional presented by the Church Street Church of Christ in Lewisburg, Tennessee, to encourage you as you face the opportunities and challenges of today. Let's begin this day together with some inspiring thoughts from God's holy word. By this we know love, because he laid down his life for us, and we also ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. But whoever has this world's goods, and sees his brother in need, and shuts up his heart from him, how does the love of God abide in him? My little children, let us not love in word or in tongue, but in deed and in truth. 1 John chapter 3, verses 16 through 18. John Woolman, the great American Quaker, was a man with an ever-passionate desire to enter into the experience of others, that he might be able to understand, and therefore to help. He once made a voyage across the Atlantic in an uncomfortable little ship. The atmosphere of the dark, crowded space between the decks was often almost unbearably foul. Woolman wrote, "Several nights of late I have felt my breathing difficult, and a little after the rising of the second watch, which is about midnight, I have gotten up and stood near an hour with my face near the hatches, just to get some fresh air. But I was glad to experience what many thousands of my fellow creatures often suffer in a greater degree." He was on a mission to the Indians in which he had to stagger under a great pack like a slave. He staggered on, tormented by flies and thirst, suffocating in the airless forest, grilled by the sun. But he was full of joy, because he had felt in his own body with his 5 senses what it was like to live as a slave. His one aim was to identify himself with his fellow men, that he might be enabled to help them. No one can think along this line without his thoughts turning to the greatest self-identification in history, which is the incarnation of God in Jesus Christ. It would be true to say that the characteristic of all pagan gods was detachment from humanity and from the sorrows and the woes and the ills of humanity, while what characterizes the God whom we love and adore, and in whom we believe, is his self-identification with the sorrows and the pain of his people. The pagan gods were the gods who refused to share the afflictions of men. Our God is the God who is afflicted in all our afflictions. So then, for the Christian, our duty becomes clear. We believe in a God not of detachment, but of identification. And there falls on us, then, the duty not of comfortably detaching ourselves from others, but of identifying ourselves with their sorrows and their pains. For us, the glory and the privilege of life lies in bearing the sorrows of others upon our hearts. What about you today? Are you truly caring and sensitive toward the needs, pains, and sorrows of others? Or do you, like many in our world today, tend to fall prey to an aloof, detached spirit that pays no mind to the travails of another? Why not ask God to open the eyes of your heart to sense and to feel the hurts of others, and then to open your hands to help where there is a need you can fulfill? This has been UpReach, a presentation of the Church Street Church of Christ in Lewisburg, Tennessee. I am Kyle Bolton, the pulpit minister at Church Street, and I would like to personally invite you to come and share times of Bible study and worship with us each week. We meet every Sunday at 9 o'clock a.m. for our morning worship, followed by our Sunday school for all ages at 10:15 a.m. Then we meet again at 6 o'clock p.m. for our evening worship. We also have a midweek meeting for devotion and Bible study on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. I hope to see you there. Have a blessed day.
I was wandering far from Jesus in the paths of sin and shame. When I looked up, and he looked down, I had never sought salvation, never trusted in his name. When I looked up, and he looked down, yes, I looked up, and he looked down, and what do you know? I really am heaven bound. I'm heaven bound. Yes,